not be a taxable account. See, every year when we create supplementals, we have to put them in the tax account to generate a dollar amount in the bookkeeping. But then you have to take them out. Either that or you code them so they don't appear again. And what's happened is, in the case of Robitaille, we've had, I believe we've had 3 of those that kind of snuck up on us and became taxable. It's Trio. Trios has 2 systems, and you've got to watch what's in one that doesn't flow into the other. So there's no break. So we're watching that a little closer this year.
Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? Vote the supplements. We've got 1, 2, 3 supplements, Jerry?
Right.
What's your pleasure on those, folks?
How many? There's 1, 2,
3.
2 for the same person. And
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental tax bills.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the supplements? All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Anything else, Jerry?
That is it.
Cool.
And the book is there for you to sign.
Yep. All right. Next item was to see if we can forge through this new business. We talked about this and teed it up so that we can get at least a dialogue going of do we set with current snowplow contractor and review an extension, go out to bid, those things. Myron and Mark are here tonight. And I talked to Mark earlier that, before we ultimately, I guess, drive a stake in the ground of what we're going to do, we need to kind of sit and at least talk. If we're going to entertain extending, we need to at least have the discussion of how the past 2 years go, basically. Or do we make the decision that we cut and go to and put it out to bid? So this is kind of a let's get the ball rolling, because even though we're on the tail end of this snow season, we need to get ready for the next snow season. So
In the current contract, on page 1, there's a statement, this contract shall have the option of a declaration of up to 2 years, from June 24th, 2008 to June 24th, 2010. Is that inferred that is there anything in this contract here that says that it can be extended beyond June 24th, 2010?
I thought there was, and where I thought it was in the contract, I looked and I can't find it.
And so the question then is it inferred by by not saying that we need to go out to bid? That at the end of each contract that we bid contracts?
Nancy, in the past contracts, wasn't there a specific clause in there that said it could be extended, and it gave a specific number of years that it could be extended? Wasn't there some language about it could be extended for 1 year at the choosing of the selectmen?
We have it in our parking lot one in the sidewalk.
And it was in this one at one point, wasn't it?
I thought it was.
Because we extended 1 year with Foglio.
But then the option of the 2 years, I'm wondering if that meant
That's the
the 2
extension.
years on top of the 2010.
well, we need to resolve that. Myron, go ahead.
The only reason, we come back and ask for more is most towns around offer 3 years, and some towns offer you can take your contract for 3 to 5 years. When you invest in equipment, it's fairly expensive to buy. You know, we spend $30,000, $40,000 for truck plows and sanders, and to keep up with it, and, you know, mainly we like to keep plowing, and it just that with a 2-year contract, it makes it tight to, you know, do what we have to do. And I know 2 or 3 times, I think it was Dayton, one of them, they've just extended theirs. They gave them an option, and I think Sawyer and Porter up there, they've just turned their contract right back over for another, I think they go for 3 years, and they've offered them another 3 years. And mainly this, you know, what we're just trying to do is all.
And I know you've talked about extending it, at least made the offer, right? And I think that was in the original bid as well, right? So we need to at least find out what our legal options are here, and then I think if we have that option to go, I think then we need to sit down in a workshop with you folks and kind of, and the road commissioner if he comes back from Florida, and and all sit down and kind of.
Because like I said, when we bid a contract, we try to bid it to give you the best price to save the town money. And,
Yep.
you know, and that's what we have in the past. And, you know, we just like to have the town, if it's possible, you know, work with us too, to be able to keep giving you, you know, a good reasonable price on doing the job for you.
Yeah, I think
I
in the
just don't want to
past,
run into legal problems.
I think in the past, it certainly has been, there's been language in there, and then I think there was extensions beyond the original language as well, right? So
I know most towns do
yeah,
offer.
let's find out what our legal path is here, and then I think we'll sit down with you guys and
Okay.
before we go any further and say, hey, this is where we are, we either are bound legally and we can't do something, or we can, and then I think it's a matter of sitting down and talking about it. But, and if we got to go back out to bid, I guess we end up going back out to bid, but,
Right.
so. All right.
Assuming that we iron out all the legal requirements, would the extension of the contract also maintain the same price level, or would there be an expectation of some type of increase because of fuel costs?
You should be discussing that,
Right.
because if it goes out to bid.
Okay, all right, all right, fine. I'll withdraw the question.
It's, you know, it's an iffy thing here, because if it goes one way, you know, people would know how
Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna bid like that.
Right.
If it's something we can do, like I said, I
No,
sit down privately,
Nancy's absolutely right. That's for
say what we could do with you.
all right. So wasn't the intent to drag you guys in tonight, but certainly
problem.
feel free to come in anytime you want. And I did have a conversation a few weeks ago, and I think something was on the agenda, and Mark called and said, do I need to be in there? But that was on the road commissioner and some of the things that were going on there, so.
So we can get information back on this in order to put on next week's
Well,
agenda.
as a minimum, get the information back so we can discuss it briefly next week, and then we'll go from there.
Next week's our workshop with the Finance Committee.
But if we get the information, we can at least set something in motion for the following week, or whatever the case may be, so. But we're fast approaching the end of this snow season, and I think based on this, it runs out the 24th of June, is it?
Yep,
So,
24.
see if we can look at where we're going, so at least you know before that runs out.
You never know, we might get a June 25th snowstorm the way the
That's
weather's
right.
been.
We didn't take the plows off yet.
Good time to get that snowmobile.
Probably a good thing. You never know. All right, so we will let you know.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for coming in. All right, not to belabor this any longer, but we do have kind of the next 5 items trying to run into themselves. We have a letter from our associate, Selectman Moore, resigning her position as a selectman for the town, effective right after town meeting. I presume that means legally whenever a replacement is elected, and I think traditionally we swear in new select person immediately following town meeting, but I think that gets hung up in warrants and how we're gonna do this, right?
You can, well, you can add it to the, you can have one warrant instead of two.
Right. So I guess the first order of business is to accept, or have a motion and a vote on accepting this resignation effective, we're gonna say town meeting.
I will move that we accept Cindy's resignation and say that it was been a pleasure over the past 5 years working with Cindy. She's got a great sense of humor, and also she can get worked up over some issues too, and it's and yet at the same time, when she comes back down a little bit, laugh at the situation too. So she has been a pleasure to work with, and I will miss her.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, item 6, vote to add the Board of Selectmen opening to this ballot that will be voted on June 8th.
Make a motion to add the Board of Selectmen opening to the ballot.
We'll second that.
Okay, so just so everybody's clear, that would be for the balance of that term, right, which is 1 year?
Yep.
So we wouldn't elect 3 with 3 years, right, so. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Third piece of that, vote to shorten the nomination time for position from March 24th to 27th of April. Currently, nominations opened
Last Tuesday.
last Tuesday, which was the 16th. So we would be shortening the nomination period by a week.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right. And we look forward to seeing Cindy back here in the next few weeks. I guess I'm not sure what that definition is, but she'll be back. All right, let's pull up our appointment. We had Tony Vigue and Dick Bateman in on the cable franchise issue. Welcome, gentlemen. Tony's good to see you after many years.
A few years.
Yes, it has. We had your comments and recommendations, and I guess the real question was, okay, how does the committee feel about this? So that was really kind of where we said, well, maybe we need to have a chat, because we were like in a vacuum here a little bit, other than just reading your note.
Well, I can see how you feel that way, if you're not sitting at the table or talking to Time Warner or doing some of the running around that Dick and I do. But
Yep.
We've put this off for a number of months, as you know, to extend it and extend it and extend it because of the model franchise agreement, which has now been finalized by the state, and which we're going to take full advantage of. I've had conversations with Time Warner. They know that we are conducting the cable committee meetings. We've had one formal cable committee meeting. The next one is Thursday night. And what I've asked the towns to do is to look at the model franchise and fill in the blanks, basically, what their needs are. And Dick has put together a list of questions, and I think you folks have that.
Yep.
And basically, that helps me, as the chairman of the committee, to coordinate between the 6 towns what are similar needs between the 6 towns and which are disparate needs that are unique to the individual town. And by doing that, we can negotiate together with Time Warner, like we did before with Frontier Vision in Adelphia, as a group of 6 towns, instead of one town trying to do it each on their own. at the same time, we have the needs of each town in mind because it's documented
Okay.
on a separate document. And the biggest thing seems to be line extensions. Where are we going to have cable in the town for the next 10 years? We asked Time Warner to do a write-out with each of the town representatives. They felt that the first step was to send us a map so that we would know where their lines go. Somewhere in the town office here, there is a map that was provided back in 1998 of what they had installed at that time. Mike Hitchcomb at Time Warner felt that he should send us a new map because of any changes that have been done since then. I guess we're still waiting for that. And as soon as that comes, we can do a write-out. Our drop dead here for me is June 30th. I would like to have this wrapped up by then. What will happen is sometime between now and probably the middle of May, we're going to have a public hearing. And I'm not sure if we'll have a regional public hearing or if we'll conduct one in each town. But basically, that gives the public a chance to voice their opinion on what their needs are for the coming franchise period. It also gives the school districts a chance to voice their opinion of what's needed. And any nonprofit organizations that might use the public access channel over in Hollis. It gives them a chance to voice their needs. This process of needs assessment should be being done within each town, and you folks are conducting it, I know, because I got a list from our gentleman over here in the corner who tapes all your meetings faithfully, and we'll be working on that for specific equipment needs for each town. You should also talk to your department heads, and I think probably Dick will be doing that if he hasn't done it already, to see what their needs are, if they have any presentation kind of needs for making presentations in a television environment. I think most of it is handled here. Whenever you have something that you need a department to present, you do it here. But maybe some department has a specific need, like a laptop or a projector or something like that. If there's equipment needs that the fire department needs for televising, any information that they have, most of it is conducted through Saco River Television, the regional center. But if there's anything specific to the town that they require, that's the kind of thing that we like to see on the list of equipment. Basically, that list that Dick provided you with is pretty self-explanatory about what we're looking for from each town. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any. The one thing I want to impress upon everybody, and everybody who's watching out there, the two things that come up most often is the two things we can't do anything about, and that's the pricing of the channels and what's on the channels. The federal government took that away from the towns in 1996 with the Telecom Act of 96 in exchange for promises of more competition in the cable industry, which we all know we have lots of competition out here. Your other choice is to get a dish, basically. That's it. So I'll take any questions if you have any.
Well, let me just, because we've got Dick's comments here, I think certainly we knew the SRCTV committee, the first item was the term of the contract, pretty self-explanatory. I would guess the committee will work towards a 10-year agreement. That seems to be the recommendation. The bond performance, is there one bond amount, or is that?
Do you folks have do you have an ordinance that's related to cable television for the town of Waterboro? What we need to do is compare that ordinance with what the model franchise says for recommended bonding for new construction. Basically, we don't want to have a discrepancy between what the model says and what your ordinance says.
Okay.
And going forward here, I'm asking each town to look at their ordinance if they have one and to match it up with a copy of the model franchise that I gave. And either change your ordinance to match that state model, or if you feel very strongly that your ordinance is going to supersede that, that's fine. You can change your copy of the franchise agreement to match your ordinance. That's perfectly acceptable as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's an action on our part.
yeah.
franchise fee, I would presume, you know, it will be negotiated across all of the towns to say that,
We have been getting 5% of their gross revenue,
Yeah.
okay? Back in the beginning, the towns, some of them were getting 3%, some were getting 2%, and what we negotiated for was 5%, so that the towns would continue to keep the 3 or 2 that they were getting, and that any additional over that, up to the 5%, could be used to provide equipment locally here in the town, or to support the regional center's budget. And that's worked out very well, because you folks have actually had an increase in your franchise fees every single year
right.
that you get.
The other thing was, and I guess I'm not sure what this all means, but they've made a recommendation to take the 4 channels and move them up in the channel range. Is that a...
They haven't formally said that. There's a couple of things going on. With cable companies, the lower channels are worth a lot of money to them. Thousands and thousands of dollars, because they can put a shopping channel on one of those lower channels and have the shopping channel pay them to be there. It's called leased access. And we currently have our local channels all on the lower channels. And in other parts of the country where they have these statewide franchises, where the whole state has one franchise, there is no clause in that franchise that says that the local channels have to be on the basic. So the cable companies have moved them up into the digital tier and put them on a menu. And they're very hard to get at and hard to find, and you need a box to be able to receive them. And we don't want that to happen. And our franchise right now says that it has to be on the lowest tier, the basic tier, unless the town agrees to put it on an upper tier, one of the digital tiers. And we want to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
One comment with this, and our school district recently stopped broadcasting the
So I
school board
understand, yeah.
meetings because they said they weren't getting out to all of the residents that are served by the R.S.U. 57. We're probably a little bit unique in that situation. Apparently it was hitting Waterboro and part of, I think it was Alfred, and that was it. So I don't know if that's something that perhaps...
The cable company that originally set up here years and years ago, and it hasn't changed since then, has a head end over in Bar Mills, and that head end serves Standish, Buxton, Hollis, Limerick, Leamington, and Waterboro, those 6 towns. And unfortunately, Waterboro's SAD doesn't follow, or SAU now it's called, doesn't follow the same path that the cable company has for its head end, you know, where the signals come from. What we used to do when you folks did televise your meetings was we would make an extra 2 copies. One went over to Springvale for the Shapley, I can't remember the other towns in SAU 57.
Yeah, well, Limerick and Waterboro are the only ones on this head, right?
Okay,
So it would have to
Limerick
be
and
Alfred, Shapley, Lyman, and Newville.
Newfield didn't even have cable. They may now, but it's not with Time Warner. It's with, I believe, Comcast that comes out of
New Hampshire.
Sanford, I believe, is where they head in. And then the other 2, I'm sorry, the other 2, Lyman and Dayton, was it?
Lyman and, yeah, Dayton's not in it, but Lyman and
Alfred.
Alfred and Lyman received their signals from Kennebunk. And so we'd send a tape down to Kennebunkport, where the head end was for them, and they would play it back for a fee of $10 to take it over and plug the tape in. So SED 57 did that for a couple of years. Karen, I can't remember her last name, when she was taping the meetings, made that happen. And when they discontinued her position, that stopped happening. And so those towns don't see it because they're not provided with a tape. Basically, that's all there is to it. We had set up for a person in each of those 2 other head ends to be able to play the tape so that those towns could see it. But that stopped.
So it sounds like it may have been driven
Budget.
by,
Fee
from a
free.
budget on their end, not that it couldn't be done.
It wasn't an expensive thing to do. The cost of a tape
Other than
And-
they had to hire somebody to take the meetings, right?
At $10, well, to hire the meetings, yes. Karen's position, and then somebody else did it after her. There was an expense involved with that person. And then they contracted with Saco River Television, and they did probably 6 or 8 meetings, 6 or 8 months' worth of meetings. And then they discontinued it because of budget reasons. So that was a decision they made that was budgetary, and I guess it's really up to the people. You know, if the people really want their meetings on TV, they have to go in and tell them that they want to put that back in the budget, but that's up to them.
The equipment thing, I think we've got pretty well under control, right, David?
You do.
The line extension, I guess the committee as
tell
a
you.
whole is going to drive the 10-mile,
Yeah,
I would guess they want 20.
well, they want
Or more,
25.
yeah.
But we're going to be hard.
So that'll be interesting for negotiation.
It will be.
I guess one of the other questions was the penalty to be negotiated because the company's failure to comply with the provisions of this agreement will result in injury to municipality. You know, I would guess that's going to be something that'll be negotiated by the committee. Is that specific to each town, or is that?
It can be if you want it to be,
Yeah.
or we can recommend as a committee what's typical. That language is boilerplate language that was hammered out in these meetings that we had with Time Warner and the other companies that were at the table when we negotiated with the state. Maine Municipal Association actually represented you folks and all the other towns. And I sat with them wearing the hat of the Community Television Association of Maine, because naturally we want to make sure that these local channels are given a priority in any contract so that people can continue to see their meetings.
Key municipal, yeah, I think the rest of this,
There is one thing, you mentioned franchise fees, and I had talked about the increase over the years. The franchise fee that you folks get, not all of it is based on just the franchise fee that they like to say pass through to the subscriber. Portion of that franchise fee is, because it says gross revenue, is based on the advertising revenue that Time Warner gets, okay? So you'll see that change every month as their advertising revenue goes up and down. If you look at your bill, you can't just say, okay, well, this is a percent of my bill. It doesn't work like that. It changes according to other factors, because we say gross. We don't just say your bill. We say all revenue that Time Warner gets. We get 5% of that.
Yep.
And it's a lot of revenue.
yep,
Take an average cable bill, $60 a month is an average cable bill, not counting internet or phone. And you multiply it times the number of subscribers that you have in your town, okay, times 12 months, okay, and then times 10 years. It came in these 6 towns, it's over $25 million. And that's not money that's turned over in the community here, okay? That's the gross revenue I'm talking about that they made. This is money that leaves these 6 communities and goes to Time Warner. So cable companies aren't like a normal business that come in and set up and hire folks. You might have 1 or 2 people in the community. They don't build a building, you know, and turn money over in the community. It just leaves.
Yep.
So your chance to get as good a deal as you can happens with this franchise negotiation period, and we're going to do our best for you.
Yep.
I want to keep you involved.
okay.
Thank you. That was, I think, informative. That's some
Yeah.
of the stuff we needed to hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you call or email,
Any
always available.
other questions, comments?
You have a great representative in Dick Bateman. He was on the first committee that we started, and he stuck with it right through. I value his expertise highly.
It goes back to when I used to be on the board years ago.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, thank you, Tony, and thank you, Dick,
Okay,
for
Dennis.
coming in, and
Tony does all the work.
Nice to see you
Tony,
too, John.
really, Tony, I mean, I think that, you know, certainly from my perspective, I mean, you know, the world of thanks goes out to you as well as Dick, but, you know, you've kind of been a rock in this whole process for
It's like
years,
anything
and,
else.
Yeah,
You just stick with it, you know.
that's right. And I think that goes, a lot of people don't recognize that goes on in all of the behind-the-scenes kind of negotiations and the involvement with MMA and the state and everything else, that's,
You got to keep your finger
people
on it.
just figure, well, they ran the cable by the house and I plugged into it and, that's what I get, so,
It's not that simple, is it?
no.
Okay.
All right,
Glad
thank
to
you.
help.
Appreciate the time and effort to come down.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, let's jump right into old business. Comprehensive plan update. Any update there, Tom, or?
Yes, sir.